7 sets to playing faster guitar. That's what this video is about, and 7 sets. That is going along with a lot of what I learned in bodybuilding, and it's basically doing kind of a pyramid thing, to where you start with a warm-up weight, and then you increase the weight, and then you decrease the weight. So, how do you do that with the guitar? You do need some resistance, and you may have seen a video I did in the past on these guys right here. These are called riff bands, and basically it's weight resistance for your fingers while you play guitar, and it can be used for any instrument that involves finger work. And basically the idea, like if you're doing weights, like I mentioned, you start with a warm-up weight, and then the second set you have higher weight, third set higher weight, fourth set even higher weight, and at about that fourth set, you can't really lift too much more. So instead of staying at that weight so you can get even more work out of the muscle, you then decrease the weight for the 5th set, decrease again for the 6th, and decrease again for the 7th one. That is a lot of work, and I certainly don't recommend people do that too often. If you are doing weight training, probably a good plateau breaker. But for guitar, because we're not taxing the muscles too much, I think you can do it a bit more often. So, I have in the past done stuff with a little bit less sets, you could say. But I found that doing it this way, allowing yourself to warm up properly, and then really start increasing what you're doing, resistance-wise, has benefited me greatly on things that I've worked on. And even something a little bit less than that, I noticed with one of my students, he was working on the Solo for Crazy train, and one part, he was getting pretty close to having it up to speed. So instead of just constantly hitting it over and over and over again, I had him put on the 3 riff bands, and then we took with the metronome, got it as fast as he could get it, and then once he couldn't go any further, we took one of the riff bands off, started the metronome back where we had it in the beginning, and then started to speed that up again, and then once he couldn't go any faster with the 2 riff bands, we took that one off, so he only had 1 left, got the metronome up to speed again, and then finally back to the beginning, took off the riff bands altogether, and then he was able to play the solo up to speed, and actually a little bit faster too. So his lesson is only an hour, so in less than an hour, what he couldn't play up to speed, he could. And I mean, you can go really far with your metronome work, but when you use the riff bands along with the metronome work, you're going to be able to go much faster in a much shorter period of time. So yes, you do need to buy the riff bands in order to get the benefit from them, but they're like $10. It's really not that much money for something that is so useful and beneficial. Even if you aren't doing metronome stuff, just wearing them while you practice is going to get your hands warmed up real fast, make them stronger, and I mean, it'll just make you better with almost without even trying. But so I can't guarantee you will have the exact same results right away. I mean, you will get faster. I don't see how you couldn't get faster if you use it right. But like with my student I just mentioned, remember he was already pretty close to getting it up to speed without the riff bands, so the riff band just kind of gives you that extra push in order to get where you're trying to go in less time. So, now comes the rather long-winded part of the video. So I have recently started learning Paganini's Fifth Caprice from this old magazine I had where Yngwie Malmsteen had transcribed it the way he does it. So I've been working on that, and yes, it is killer. Very difficult. It's a lot of fun actually practicing this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on that first phrase, and I haven't worked on it with the riff bands yet because I've been working on other parts of the song that I felt were much more challenging, and they were just kicking my butt. But I'm going to start with 60 beats a minute. I think it's a good place to start anything, really, because it's every beat comes every second. It lasts a second long. And for a lot of people that complain, oh, it's too slow starting like this, I do so much better faster. Well, if you're able to start at a nice slow pace, that means you're going to know the piece of music you're working on that much better. So of course you're going to be playing it better once you get it faster, because you worked on it from the slow part and you know it better. So anyway, let's get cracking here. And for those interested in seeing, how well it's going to work. I mean, remember, I haven't done this yet with the riff bands. I don't know how well it's going to go for me. So we'll see if I end up looking like a fool or not. Here we go. Whoop, 1 second. Alright, here we go. I am in drop D tuning. Already look like a fool. Alright, here we go. Okay, just for time purposes, I'm going to go up by 10s instead of the usual 5 I always recommend. So we'll see how well that goes. 200. 210. Starting to taper a bit. 220. Yeah. Try that one more time. Yeah. It's a bit off. Okay, so there's my warm-up set, and there comes set number 2, putting on the first riff band. That's basically all I'm doing. It's got little circles there, you just put it over your fingertip. Doesn't really matter which finger you start with. I usually start with my ring. And be careful, when you get these, don't yank on them, because they are rubber, so if you pull too hard you will break it. I've done that on accident. I was being careless. So as long as you're careful with these, you should have no problem. I don't think. So, and I'm just pulling it down right close to the that middle knuckle there. Now, stuff like this with that big old stretch in there, especially with the riff bands on, it's going to make it significantly more challenging. So let's see how fast I get now. Alright, so back to 60. You really start feeling the riff band now. 190. How's that for some guitar faces? 200. Try it 230. Nope. Alright, so I'm going to back up again to 60. 2 riff bands. I think I got about to the same point on the warm-up set, and then at the first riff band. And that can happen because during the warm-up set you just warmed up, so you get your fingers used to it. I mean, the first one riff band doesn't create too much resistance, but it definitely does make a difference. And you can definitely feel it. Alright, so back to 60. Do it again. Boy, isn't this thrilling! Okay, here we go. 60. Oh man. 240. Apparently I got faster with the 2 on. Here we go. 240. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. Backing up to 60 again. Time for the real hard one. Oh, goodness. 3 of them. 110. Yeah, a lot of it's right here. Kind of right here, too. It's definitely a very interesting feeling. 120. 220. Yeah. No. Oh, I definitely did not go faster on that one. Alright, now it's time to take off one at a time. I'm going to speed things up for the video. I'll go ahead and start a little bit faster than 60. Let's go ahead and... So we started at 80. 80. Alright, let's take the next riff band off. Ugh. Now this one should go much better. A lot less pressure. I started at 80 again. Alright, no more riff bands. 7th set. 270. Ooh. So that was definitely pushing it there. Probably should have picked something easier to demonstrate with. I think the hardest part of that one was just having to think about what I'm doing. But, you know, I think even, you know, just getting it up to the 270, even if it's not 100% perfect there, well, I don't think I could have done it, especially just the 10 beat per minute increase, you know, the way I was doing it, you know, in that amount of time. Obviously, I edited down the video there because there would be like 30 minutes of like the same damn riff all the time. But that's basically, you know, it's obviously not a huge number of an increase, but if any of you have been playing with a metronome before, and, you know, a 10 beat increase could be, you know, everything from being able to play it properly to just completely falling apart. But that was the purpose of showing, you know, this video, is that the riff bands can help you improve your speed in a much shorter amount of time. So just think about how beneficial it'll be if you do it every day. So within like a half hour, I was able to increase it. What did I start with? Like 220, got up to 270, something like that. And that's increasing the BPM by 10 instead of the usual 5. So go get yourself some riff bands. I do believe you will enjoy them and their benefits thoroughly. It doesn't have to be something that's a big stretch. It can be any kind of scales. It can be changing chords. Just anything where you're moving your fingers. Those riff bands will cause resistance, and when you have to work through that resistance, you will be forcing your muscles in your hand, your fingers, especially your forearms, to get stronger, to adapt, and that will in turn make them faster. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Thank you.